We've basically digitized cold calling, and clients in today's day and age with technology at their fingertips and transparency at their fingertips, they want to interact with their advisor differently. And the entire prospecting engine, lead generation engine was built around the advisor and turning the human into a transaction. Commoditizing human beings has never worked out in the history of our planet.
I mean, those aren't cold leads. Those are people that are looking for a solution to their problem. Yeah, that's as warm as it gets.
eHarmony, Bumble, like they got something here. Why can't I apply that same methodology to helping clients find the right advisors and vice versa?
So basically, LinkedIn, in your opinion, for an advisor today is basically like a suit and tie 30 years ago.
Yes, you got to be there. Don't just have like totally canned content, but have some personality. Show people who you are. Let them get to know you.
What are like maybe 3 tips for somebody to grow on LinkedIn for advisors?
Don't be a creeper. Rule number 1. So let me define that. A creeper is someone who...
Systems work. People fail. Welcome to InsureMark's Advisor Mentorship Podcast with Vice President Jeremy Hauser.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Advisor Mentorship Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Hauser, excited to bring a conversation to each and every one of you. The last several episodes, we've really tuned into a lot of innovation, technology in the financial space. In fact, we actually just had an advisor on, if you caught the last episode, who is implementing a lot of AI into his practice to be more efficient and be more present in his business. Our guest today is none other than Derek Notman, who is the CEO of Couplr.AI. How are we doing today, Derek?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thanks a ton for having me.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for hopping in on us today. And as we were chatting here before the episode, you got a great story. So people that don't know a little bit about your background, so I saw that you're a CFP since 2015. So you're a practicing advisor. Are you still doing that right now as well?
Yeah, still technically an advisor. I own my own RIA, so I still have that. I cut my teeth at New York Life. I was there for about 16 years, so know the space quite well. Been doing it for a long time.
Love that. And are you right now? So you recently launched something. That's where I wanted to bring you on the show. It seemed very intriguing. LinkedIn. I see you have a pretty good following on LinkedIn as well. So I saw with Couplr.AI that you recently announced and bringing that out. So I want to definitely get into that of the show. But for those that don't know a little bit about Derek, do you mind giving us a quick background of who you are outside of the financial space too?
Yeah, sure. I like to joke I was going to be Indiana Jones. My background, my bachelor's degree is in archaeology and anthropology, but that didn't go anywhere pretty quickly. Harrison Ford already was the better man for that position. And my first couple of years out of college, I worked with at-risk youth at a residential treatment center. So with kids that grew up in really bad homes that were in jail, death row type of stuff, pretty wild. But through all that, I really learned I liked working with people and solving problems. And I've always been interested in the topic of money, but also making money. I love it as a tool to let me do the things that are more important in my life. And so that's how I fell into the career in financial services with New York Life. My wife and I just were recently married, moved across the country. I got recruited by New York Life, didn't know what I was getting into. And then 16 years later, I'm still with them and then transitioned to an RIA. So outside of that, I love to surf. I love working on cars. We love world travel. I'm a dad. So just, trying to live life as best I can today while also trying to set it up for, pretty awesome down the road as well.
How many kids you have?
Just the one.
Just the one?
He just turned 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In the thick of it then. So 15, how long ago did you branch out and start to do your own RIA?
That was, it'll be 5 years in December.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's been a little while now. Yeah. Crazy.
And so, and that's obviously tough too. And a lot of the advisors, so we do a lot of mastermind groups, and we'll do we have a couple of annual events that we'll do with the advisors. And it seems like advisors are all in on their business, and for the most part, they still have to be present dads. So there's a lot of hats that they have to wear.
Yeah.
How challenging has that been over the last 5 years starting your own deal?
Really hard. But it goes back even further. Like the month my son was born, I went from a purely like insurance based practice. I converted over to, while still at New York Life, all over to AUM. So I switched my business model entirely the same month he was born. I also bought an office building the same month he was born,
Hmm.
to move my office to, and had to rehab that. It was a 100-year-old property. And so, yeah, I guess since he was born, even before, I've always been torn between different roles. But, as a new dad, especially growing up in a situation where I have my own dad issues, if you will, I didn't really have a roadmap of how do I balance being a great dad, but still pursuing my passion as an entrepreneur and building businesses. It's really hard, Jeremy. It's really hard to balance both. And ultimately, we ended up writing a book that we just published 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, with Sir Richard Branson. Um, Adam Holt, my best friend, and I wrote it together. He's also a longtime advisor and also the founder of Asset Map. But we wrote a book and interviewed over 100 dads from around the world. And one of the things that came out of that is that balance isn't actually possible, and to not try to strive really to achieve it, but maybe pursue it. It's okay, but it's also okay to be out of balance and to recognize that, and to really more look for harmony. So I'm giving you a long-winded answer here, but it's never easy to balance both, especially when you work from home, because your kid's there and they're like, oh, can we go out to lunch today? Or can you help me with this thing I want to do? Or I want to go surfing. I'm like, well, I'm working, and it's tough. And it doesn't get any easier, I'm finding.
That is tough. Especially, I mean, as we're recording right now, just having the kids in the other room and all you want to do is really hang out with them, right?
Yep, totally.
Yeah. And is there a better word than balance? What was that word you used? Because I find that so true.
Harmony. I would really go with the word harmony.
Harmony.
So one of LinkedIn's top folks, his name is Devin Banerjee, who I've become friends with over the years. He was one of the dads we interviewed in the book, and he's the first one that mentioned it. He's like, work-life balance is impossible, but you can strive to have harmony. And that really resonated with me, and it made it feel okay to not be on this path of trying to achieve something that's not actually possible.
Yeah. Hopefully we can dive a little more into that as well too. So, and what was the name of the book, by the way?
It's called Rebel Dad.
Rebel Dad. Because it's a true statement of just the fact of, if people, you got to lean into mentorship, or your community is so important as well too, I think, growing up as well too. So everybody might have their own parental issues or love fest that they grow up with, but you got to really lean into your surroundings. So I assume growing up, did you have at least a good community as well too that helped shape who you wanted to become?
I have not been asked that question, so you're getting this raw. I don't know how to. So my parents got divorced when I was like 7. Really bad divorce. Had to go back and forth between homes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had friends, and like, I don't know. I think there was a support network there, but I don't. We didn't really have any family around. We had moved to Minnesota and didn't have any family in the state, so didn't have a family network to tap into. It's an interesting question, Jeremy. I don't know. I think there's some community there, but I don't know if I really found the community I needed until I became an adult and really started getting out in the world on myself. That's an interesting reflection. I'll have to think about that a little bit more.
Retirement isn't built in a day. It's built on a strong foundation. Talcott's fixed index annuities help protect against market downturns while offering real growth potential. The Everguard Assurance delivers guaranteed income you can count on, and the Everguard Aspire offers strong growth potential with competitive rates and caps, plus a no-fee bonus to help clients stay strong all the way through the age of 85. It's all part of a commitment to help advisors and clients move forward with confidence. Talcott, a foundation you can depend on, a trusted partner for what's next. If you would like more information, go to Talcott.com and make sure you learn more. Once again, that's Talcott, TALCOTT.com. Yeah. And the reason, I mean, it's also because especially at 7, right? So it becomes then you don't think it's because you just don't know. You're learning life at the same time that probably your parents are learning life, separated.
Yeah.
So then it starts with like holidays. So then it's like, whose house do you go to? And then over time, it gets to then you're married. Then it's, well, whose house do you go to? And then now we got multiple parents. There's just a whole dynamic to where, you really do have to like you said, there's no playbook in it. So there's no right or wrong. It's just like, hey, you're being tossed all these things. So what kind of helped you as you started progressing? You said when you got or became an adult, like what got you over that hump? Or, you started figuring it out, or at least felt like you're figuring it out to where like you're now um, you're leading your child through this.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely took a while, and I made a lot of mistakes. And I think that's what I started to just look at it, and I was tired of being tired and of being stressed.
Hmm.
And you do the best you can, but especially when you have this dual role as a father and then also being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of stressors. And as most of your audience knows, being in the advisor space, like I haven't had the same paychecks since day one, so it's been over 20 years, and each month is different.
Yeah.
There's some really tough months, quarters, right? And so how do you balance all that? And so I eventually got to a point, I'm like, this sucks. I'm tired of trying to hack through this. I don't really have support. And I started looking for community that understood these dual roles.
Hmm.
And I couldn't really find one that blended the two together. There's a lot that focus just on fatherhood or marriage, or like, these more entrepreneurial oriented programs where it's just about business and growing your company and all that. I'm like, those are all great, but I want one that actually blends both together.
Yep.
Couldn't find it. So I'm like, all right, I'll create it. And that's where Rebel Dads came out of. And that's the brotherhood now. These guys that I can go to it at a moment's notice and talk about a win, a struggle, a challenge, and get really great, feedback and community very quickly.
It's interesting you bring that up because, that's where like our company itself, and as you're trying to find people like-minded. So like-minded, career driven of not necessarily career driven, but like driven, motivated. They want to be a provider for their family.
Yeah.
And that's a topic we talk about a lot of just the being able to blend the two, but you got to become the best version of yourself first, right? So you got to work on you, and then you can try to save the world. But you got to really focus on being the best version for you and the role model.
You're nailing it.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's not easy, and that's why it's at the end of the day, we're all one person. So the more people you get aligned with, so I definitely want to check out more about Rebel Dad. And on top of that, so I mean, you also have to be authentic too. So going back to like being a financial advisor, so you're attracting who you want to work with. So I take it probably through your self journey, you've started to find more people that relate to you and raising your standards, working with certain people to where like talk a little bit about your journey of how do you even market as a financial advisor or get in front of new people? Because now you're not in the wirehouse.
Yeah, that's a fun topic, and one I've had the bumps and bruises along the way, especially under a massive compliance framework at New York Life. That was interesting.
Yep.
I started off being told like you just need to cold call this many people a week, go knock on doors, go meet people, and there was talk of like an ideal client, but they never really told you how to do it. And basically, the ideal client was anyone who could breathe. And I tried that for a while, but it really just didn't work. And the work we do is extremely important and it's extremely valuable. So I wanted to work with people that appreciated what I can do for them. So that was important to me. But I also wanted to work with people that I liked. So that had similar interests, similar maybe backgrounds, personality traits. Because one of those things really establish rapport and trust better when we actually understand each other. Like, oh, you went to this school? Oh, you like to surf? Oh, you're a dog person? You like cars? Like instantly you have these connection points with that person. Now you could build a relationship faster and deeper. So, I really, that was a long journey for me to figure that out because I drank the Kool-Aid on just cold call, get the lists, do the snail mailers, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Then eventually that went digital, and the early websites and social media were just digital versions of cold calling. And then I was like, no, I'm going to go niche on this and really figure out, who I want to work with. And it became so much easier then, because then your personality gets to shine through and you just be you. And your branding, your website, your social media, your content, everything you put out is just a reflection of you and who you're trying to work with. And as Jason Wank, you may know that name. He's the founder of Altruist. He said years ago, attract your tribe with your vibe. And I really like that, right? And I don't need 1,000 clients to run a profitable business. And so let me go find the people that I really want to work with, that love working with me. And I have to do it digitally. That's one of the oldest marketing tricks in the book, is go where people already are and be present. People are online. And the rest kind of took care of itself. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It requires a lot of work and a lot of content creation, but at least you know who you're talking to now. And that's really important.
How long did that take?
Took really well. Yeah. I mean, I grew my business significantly. I've got a great book of business now, but it's only 100 clients, highly profitable. And it just, the spray and pray approach is really exhausting as an advisor. It's really expensive time and money to do it. Yes, you can get clients that way, but boy, it takes a part of your soul. So getting really focused on who you want to work with, why you want to work with them, is easier to kind of just compartmentalize and actually work towards. But also it helps you differentiate yourself as an advisor. If you sell everything to everybody, then you have no clients. And so really getting focused on that. If you only need 100 clients to have a really profitable business, you can find those 100 people, especially virtually now. Like I took my practice virtual in 2013. And so it's really amazing what you can do. I have clients I've never met in person.
That's awesome. That's great testimonial too, because I think a lot of advisors, especially in 2020, kind of pushed everybody to start to do it a little more, or at least learn the tech part of it, of just getting familiarized if they weren't already doing so. Getting grandma and grandpa comfortable with possibly getting on Zoom.
Yeah.
So that was the challenge, is really getting the customer to do it. I think advisors were willing and wanting to do it faster. But so 2013, what was the win? So there's always like a win that happens. So now that's your story. And now basically that becomes almost your floor and standard of who you're working with. So if you took yourself back to like, all right, this is starting to work, what was the breakthrough moment?
I remember a meeting. So around, what was it, 2012, 2011, I moved from Vermont to Wisconsin for an opportunity that totally went south. And then my wife and I had a decision, like, do we stay or do we go back to Vermont? Because we did have some family in Wisconsin. We decided to stay, but that meant I was on a plane every 2 to 3 weeks back to Vermont to meet with clients. And it didn't take long for me to get really sick and tired of flying back and forth. And now I'm watching my son grow up via text message instead of in person. I'm like, this sucks. And so the very first virtual meeting I had an office manager in Vermont who invited some client, or I scheduled and had some clients come into my office there. She turned her computer around. We turned Skype on. And then I was in Wisconsin for my office. And we did the meeting, and it felt kind of clunky and weird, but we did the meeting. It worked, and we wrote business. And I'm like, oh shit, this works. Here we go. Yeah. And then started exploring, like, well, what other programs and tech can I use to do this? And what's a webcam? I just used this thing that was on my laptop. Like, how do I have to get like a proper webcam and a mic? And then you go down this whole path of trying to get all this infrastructure in place. So that was it. And I never looked back. And then a lot of people, even in New York Life, they're like, yeah, that'll never work. And then they saw my production numbers, because I was a top 5% producer at New York Life nationally. And they're like, well, how are you doing this? You're not going anywhere. You're in the office all day. I'm like, exactly. And it worked.
That's incredible. So did they change their system?
I was a thorn in their side, and I had to. But I took I've never had a compliance infraction in my life,
Mhm.
and I took the path of I'm going to make my compliance consultants, people both in the office and then both at the zone, like my best friends. Here's what I'm doing. Here's how it works. Tell me what's okay, what's not okay, et cetera, et cetera. And even those early ones, I still had to either have my staff fill out, get the application filled out and send it to me paper wise, or I would have to fax it. Like it was still very manual.
Sure.
But it just worked. And then it just started getting better and better. But they like even blogging, like the blogging and social media with them was a real hassle. But I was so far ahead of the curve on that, they didn't know what to do with me. And then they're like, well, if we'd let him do this, we have to let 11,000 other agents do this. And what does that mean? They didn't have the bandwidth for it.
So did you make the decision, or did they end up kind of nudging you out?
They didn't nudge me out at all. They were very good to me. I've got a lot of great memories there. New York Life was very good to me all those years.
Yep.
Ultimately, it came down to I was really serious about pursuing Couplr. And as your audience knows, like only certain outside business activities are allowed, and they weren't going to allow it. So I had a decision. Do I pursue this new entrepreneurial thing or not? And I decided to do it. So I started Couplr basically the same time I started my RIA and left New York Life. So that was a fun transition.
So you started the RIA. So you said so about 2020 or 2021?
4.5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Couplr. So what is Couplr?
Think of it as the eHarmony for insurance and wealth management. So we have two sister products, if you will. One is that we help match the right client to the right advisor at the right time and place for the right reasons. And then we have an enrichment product where whether it's an individual lead or an entire book of business, we can enrich all of your contacts and give you estimated assets, household income, free cash flow, health and wealth events that are likely to occur in that family in the next year, 5 years, and so on. So now as an advisor, you are much more equipped with not only the right match from a personality and professional level, but also having the right information to help that client, the best that you can.
Interesting. So it's been up and running for 5 years?
I didn't even know how to spell technology company when I started,
yeah.
Right?
You were operating off Skype back in the day. And so
right.
I know you
I do a little bit, but I had never started a technology company before. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I hacked through it a lot, found some good people to help me get the thing going. We built an alpha product to test it and got some good feedback, and then went all in on building a much more robust product. And that took a couple of years, right? And then we've been in market maybe 2 years, two-ish years, maybe a little bit longer than that.
Are you an independent advisor that finds themselves working in their business instead of on it, causing a lot of frustration as you are working each and every day on below the line activities and not having the right people or team to delegate those processes to? That's where our team comes in. Here at Simplicity InsureMark, we continue to help advisors go from frustration to freedom through systems and processes, and especially when it comes to becoming a better CEO, running the models of being a better leader for the organization that you serve. Our team has the implemented resources for advisors like yourself to plug into. If you want more information on how our team continues to help independent advisors like yourself, feel free to go to www.insuremarkamp.com/J Hauser and click on Learn More to know more about our team and how we are helping advisors with anything from sales, marketing, operations, and most importantly, leadership today. Why did you go that route? Because your business was already going virtual. So you were getting a lot of good insight of finding people all across the country and they were open to do business. So why did you decide to move forward with creating an app to link people together?
I was definitely seeing it firsthand with myself and where the success was. And I also had a lot more time back because I was working remotely. I had more time to do things. And I tend to always like to create and solve problems. I'm like, well, I have all this extra time. And the idea of Couplr actually is something I came up with, 10 years ago now, and just never had an opportunity to really pursue it. And I was like, okay, now's the time to do it. Because I was seeing all of these other advisors struggling. I've been in their shoes where I've paid for the cold lists or I've paid for these. I'm not going to name them, but there's plenty of services out there that advisors know about that they pay for them. Might get a little bit of luck, but overall the experience is not awesome. It's expensive. And I was like, man, like this whole thing's backwards. We've basically digitized cold calling, and clients in today's day and age with technology at their fingertips and transparency at their fingertips, they want to interact with their advisor differently. And the entire prospecting engine, lead generation engine was built around the advisor and turning the human into a transaction. Commoditizing human beings has never worked out in the history of our planet. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way to help advisors with lead gen, to help firms with lead gen, but also help clients get the right advisor so they can get the right advice, the right products and services, and actually accomplish their hopes, dreams, and goals. And so it's funny, when I started, part of my market research was I signed up for all the online dating websites to understand how they were using technology to connect human beings. Now, my wife knew, she's right there. She knew I was signing up for all of them, but it really helped me understand, like, oh, so this is how technology is helping human connection. eHarmony, Bumble, like they got something here. Why can't I apply that same methodology to helping clients find the right advisors and vice versa? And maybe I was a little naive. I was like, oh, everyone's going to love this. It's going to be easy. I'm already connected in the industry. Let's go. Definitely not as easy as one may think. Starting a technology company is not for the faint of heart, but it's been a really cool ride, and we've had a lot of great things happen because of it.
That's incredible. So let's just say in the last 2 years, like, how does the customer even learn about this process? Because advisors, right, originally they're like, oh, that's great, but then you got to have a database, or you got to have a market to be like, you can get on the app, but advisors are just waiting to connect with people. But how do you get the people to the app?
That's where we took a totally different tact. We didn't want to run clickbait ads or things like that, or calculators that push you into selling your data. We actually embed as a white label tool into all of the marketing engines advisors are already using. So we're technically not a lead generation tool. We are a lead conversion tool. Now, we do help with some organic traffic on our own. We've done a significant amount of work on the SEO, AEO, and GEO game. And that's helping from that side. But primarily, a firm and or advisor can embed our matching product on their website, social media, newsletter campaigns, snail mail campaigns, wherever they are marketing, they can put it. Because we want to be an extension of their brand and their experience, and help more leads convert in because of that versus competing with it.
So why now? Is it just the concept of the amount of wealth that's going to different generations? Is it like, why was it probably important to go ahead and get this thing off the ground?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think behavioral finance is coming into its own quite a bit. There's plenty of research out there now that shows that how people make decisions when it comes to their finances. And, the main determining factors are not just my zip code and 401k balance anymore. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff that we knew as advisors sitting across the kitchen table, but now it's kind of becoming, mainstream. And I think there's a lot more driven by what the consumer is demanding. We live in a world now where consumers are getting hyper-personalized experiences, whether it's my Netflix queue or my Amazon queue or wherever I'm doing. I'm used to getting curated things for me based upon what I need and am looking for. But we weren't doing that in the financial advice space, even though people are searching for help millions of times a month. And so, yes, the old traditional lead generation strategies do work, but the conversions are quite low. And let's face it, people are really tired of spammy emails and DMs and cold calls and all of that. And that's one of the, to the dating analogy, we took a play out of Bumble's playbook. where with Couplr, a lead actually has to initiate first contact. Mm-hmm. Versus the advisors or multiple advisors getting sold some information, and then it's a race to call that lead back. Half the time that lead doesn't even remember giving you their information in the first place. So really, there's a lot of things that have come together, Jeremy, that have really forced the issue now. And I just recently published, like, our industry is about to have its eHarmony moment. Like, we're finally at that stage where it's starting to flip. I was early to the party, if anything.
And that's the thing, right? So now leveraging AI's component. So does the consumer, because I don't know anything about it. So does the consumer actually pay to be a part as like a monthly subscription? So it's free. Is it free to the advisor as well too? Or how does that work?
Always free to the consumer, and the advisor can pay one of two ways, and or a firm, where it's either a flat rate per lead or it is a flat monthly rate per advisor headcount. So we don't charge bips on business or success fees or any of that, or product-based fees, any of that stuff. It's flat, it's simple, no conflicts of interest. And it's all about quality over quantity too.
So a Netflix subscription, like, not price-wise probably, but so similar model for the advisor. So they're just paying and you said a one-time fee or a monthly fee?
So they can do it either way. They can pay a flat subscription monthly fee for the matching service, or they can say, I don't want to do that. I just want to pay per lead when a lead contacts me.
Interesting. Okay. And is it up and going in all 50 states, or is there certain states you're not? Oh, really? Okay.
We're up 100%. Like, we don't even have to register with the SEC because of a revenue model, so which is nice. We've got thousands of advisors on platform, and we're also in South Africa. South Africa, because my mom is South African. I've got a lot of contacts down there.
Interesting. So are they, for the most part, usually younger demographics, or are you finding people that are over 60? That's still Gen X, kind of. So, people in their 70s?
Yeah, all over. It's a wide range, both advisors and consumers. I joke, if grandma can FaceTime the grandkids, then they can do this. And it's a wide range all over the place. Individual advisors, we've got insurance only, hybrid, fee only, independent, wirehouse, like you name it, all over the place. So
yeah, it's interesting because you described it as like digitalizing the cold lead. Those aren't cold leads; those are people that are looking for a solution to their problem.
Warm.
Yeah, that's as warm as it gets. So they're literally going to an app knowing that they're trying to interact with a financial professional. So what do you have to do to get your brand out there for the consumer to know more about, like, what kind of services you guys are offering? Like, how hard is that?
That's hard. And we're actually, we got really lucky. Google came out with some pretty significant updates in May that we were well positioned for and have just doubled down on. So we're getting a lot of traction, especially on the AEO and GEO side. So answer engine and the generative engine optimization. And so we're taking advantage of that to get some organic traffic. But then, as I said, we embed with our partners. And so, think about, like, in New York Life, how many millions of consumer hits do they get a month on their website and social media channels? They can use our tool and can start converting that traffic at much higher rates than their current experience. Because a lot of times, whether you are a firm with 2 advisors or 10,000, the consumer journey is, I get to the website, I read something, and now I have to fill out a contact form, give up my information, or I have to put in my zip code and pick for the top 400 advisors for me. And neither one of those converts well. And so instead, now the experience is, hey, get matched with the right advisors for you at our firm. Take this short quiz. You don't give up any control. You look at those advisor profiles. I like all 3, but man, Jeremy's cool. He's like me. He helps people like me. I'm going to send Jeremy a message when I'm ready. And now Jeremy, the advisor, gets a warm inbound lead that's already vetted them. And so unless you've got a bad follow-up or a bad sales process, you're probably going to close that business.
Fascinating model. Ideally, a perfect model. So it's fascinating.
I'll take your word on that.
Yeah. Realistically, so, being around for 2 years. So probably in the last couple of months, some members who have been around for like a year or so. I'm sure you know to the data point. So realistically per month, how many do you think an advisor who's on the platform, how many warm, you say cold, but I'm going to say warm leads are actually messaging John in a month?
Every advisor is going to want an answer to this question. And I have to respond with the comment that we don't know. And
Okay.
here's why we don't know, because every advisor's marketing channels are different as far as what they're doing or not doing, or firms and how many, what their traffic is. Now, we did run a pilot with a pretty large firm. They were generating a couple 100,000 views or visits from leads a month. And we were converting thousands of leads coming through that pipeline. In fact, they saw from their traditional find an advisor zip code contact form experience, we saw over a 500% increase in conversions from that.
Wow.
So I can't give you a specific number of leads because it's going to vary, but we do. And we actually did another test with Bankrate where we more than tripled their conversion rate by using our tool. And so really like the message more is like, don't expect tons of leads, but expect really warm, qualified leads. And as an advisor, you only have so much bandwidth. You can't take in 30 new clients a month. I'm sorry, it ain't going to happen. But if you can get 1, 2, 3 a month that are really warm, want to work with you, and all you got to do is meet with them, that's still a lot of clients per year.
New product alert. Revel One Financial is continuing to rev it up. At Revel One Financial, their mission is to revolutionize how people feel, think, and experience retirement solutions. They are bringing unmatched agility, speed, and innovation to the fixed annuity industry. And now Revel One Financial just announced their latest product launch, introducing a CumRev fixed index annuity with a 10% 7-year guaranteed cap rate with the S&P 500 1-year point-to-point index interest rate on the 7-year product. Rate subject to change at any time, but you heard that right. 10% cap on the S&P 500 guaranteed for the 7-year contract. A CumRev also has an index lock rider with 3 ways to lock in performance. Another launch, another leap forward. That's the Revel One Financial Cheetah Spirit, built for speed, designed to deliver. And it's working in the background, right? So it's complementing what you're currently doing. This person just pops up on your calendar because it's another arm of your marketing arm that's generating that conversation. So it only just, I see the industry going more and more into this direction. So, I mean, you definitely, that's the cutting edge. The fact you're already having success with it, that tells the story. Cause I talk about on the previous episodes, especially over the last couple months, is obviously the Sorelli report. We're seeing all the trillions going down to Gen X, millennials. I mean, the stats are just like screaming, basically, here's a problem. But you guys seem to have a good solution where you got over 50%, 70% of millennials, Gen Z, they're going to social media or they're going online for financial advice. So,
and AI even more. Like how many times, even Jeremy, in the last week, have you Googled something and the first answer is the AI answer?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even just being able to show up in that is so important. Like I rarely look at the links anymore now. What's the AI answer? And I'll just go down that path.
It's so true. I don't even, and sadly enough, and I really wish, because I go 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I go to my favorite AI tools before I go to Google of just like, I just want the actual, I don't want to like clarify inside of Google what I'm trying to look for. Cause
yeah, it's an experience thing. And even something we've been experimenting with at Couplr is even in the last 3 weeks, we went from 0 AI citations to over 8,200 now. Like we're growing exponentially. And some of those citations include actual advisor profiles because each advisor profile on Couplr is public. So you can't search it as a directory, but it can come up as an actual citation and or link depending on what someone is looking for, which is pretty cool.
And so like for the advisor so we're talking a little bit about marketing on the episode, obviously. So what are some do's and do nots, like based off of what you've learned through this experience? We're running your business model, although virtually, now getting into the game of actually doing a marketing platform for advisors to piggyback off of. So in 2026, what are some do's and don'ts for advisors that are just looking to really just grow their business, in your opinion?
From a marketing perspective,
From marketing, yeah.
yeah, I would definitely start creating your online presence as quickly as possible, but not a templated
Hmm.
presence. Be you, be genuine. So many times when I get an email from somebody asking for something, one of the first things I do is I check them out on LinkedIn. Do they have a profile? Okay, they do, but are they posting content? What is the content about? Who do they work for? And so, in general, if I'm an advisor today, whether I've been around 30 years or I'm just starting out, I would highly encourage you to think about making sure your digital footprint is amazing. You've got a strong LinkedIn profile. You have a robust website. And some of these are now table stakes, honestly. But also, what are you doing with your content? Are you using canned content that's quick and easy to post? Are you using Chat GPT to write a blog post and not even fact checking it and then just posting it out there? Even when the little telltale signs are those little like the long hash marks,
Yeah,
you
correct.
know it was written by AI if that's sitting in there. It's funny. I actually
Mhm.
was messing with Claude one day and asked it, "Can you remove these?" And Claude got all pissed off, like no, it has to be there. It wouldn't work. It was pretty funny actually. I digress. But yeah, so I would really focus on creating content and a blend around personal and professional. One of LinkedIn's top executives just came out like in the last week or two saying that the best content is a blend of insight and personality. And so really making sure like what insights can you share with me that can help me, but also let me get to know who you are. Who are you as an individual, both at work, and also like at home?
Mhm.
I don't need to see what you had for breakfast. You don't
Yep.
need to post that type of stuff, but start to share some stories and experiences. And that should come through on your brand, your website, social media channels, your email newsletters. It's all we used to do all this stuff like back in the day. It was cold calling, it was door knocking. I used to have a booth at the mall on weekends, snail mail letters, newspaper articles. A lot of us have done a lot of these things, seminars. All you really need to think about now is moving those activities and energies and investment of time and dollars onto digital things instead and having that presence there. And yes, it's going to be work, but I'd rather do that than have to cold call 200 people a week.
So if I hear you correctly, this would be maybe close to it or maybe far off. I don't know. So basically, LinkedIn, in your opinion, for an advisor today, is basically like a suit and tie 30 years ago. So it's like you have to have it.
Yes. Yes. You got to be there. That's one of the places like I had. So for a while, I was really focused on working with executives that really love Sky Miles because I'm a million miler on Delta. So I just knew that, and that's who I was marketing to. And I had this guy, multimillionaire, contact me out of the blue, all virtual. Got him as a client, and he even said in his email to me, "I looked at your website. I checked out your LinkedIn profile. Like I did all of these things before I was comfortable contacting you." So yes, like have it out there. Don't just have like totally canned content. I know you have to have your disclosures per what your firm says, and that's fine. Do that. Don't break any rules, but have some personality. Show people who you are. Let them get to know you.
And like to the listener who it may be, some people it comes natural, right? And some people it's just like, I'm just going to, they have a creative mind, so they're good with it. But some people, it might be a little more challenging. They need a little nudge. So like, if there was like 2 or 3 lanes to give like some feedback, because I think I saw you got like 30,000 connections, so you're doing well on LinkedIn. Probably not just connecting with everybody, but more, at least probably starting off in your business. Who all were you connecting with? What are like maybe 3 tips for somebody to grow on LinkedIn for advisors?
Don't be a creeper.
Okay.
Rule number one. So let me define that. A creeper is someone who goes on LinkedIn and looks what everyone else is doing, but never comments or creates their own content. Now, there's actual math behind this, and LinkedIn has even said this. Only about 1% of people on LinkedIn, and I'll tell you, LinkedIn has over 1 billion users worldwide. only about 1% of them actually create content.
Mm-hmm.
Where else can you go and have only 1% of people competing with you? It's pretty good. It's probably even less than 1% when it comes to advisors doing things. Another thing I would not do not send cold DMs. I can't tell you how many cold DMs I even get from advisors trying to sell me advisory services. I'm like, bro, don't you see what I do? Like, come on.
Tell me you know me by not knowing me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. It's just like, come on, that doesn't work. People don't want that. I guess one of the things I love to do in real life social settings, and I'm actually more of an introvert, to be honest, is one of the things I like to ask people is like, what do you like to do when you're not working?
Mm-hmm.
And so you could even start to pose, conversations like that on social media. If you're, more introverted, you're not as comfortable posting, like, please don't post about every returns on the S&P 500. That's super boring. Nobody cares. But maybe talk about like a client experience that you had in the last 6 months, like the problem, the transformation, how you help them. Don't talk about product. Don't talk about service. Just like the experience and what you worked through with them and how you help them. People respond well to stories, and advisors have a wealth of stories right from their own book of business that they can share. Obviously, keep it confidential. You don't need to mention names or any of that stuff. So I would start there maybe if you're timid about doing something, and just see what that how that resonates with people. And I've always I initially said I would never connect with advisors on LinkedIn, and then I was like, I'm going to connect with anybody that can create value for me, whether it's content or relationship. They don't have to be a potential client necessarily. You just never know. And advisors are a great group of people, and we should help each other. We're all on the same team. And so I would just try to connect with as many people of value that create content as possible, because that helps extend your reach as well.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm hearing correctly, very important to actually comment and go out and be active. So if you're on LinkedIn, don't just scroll through and then on with your day. Participate.
I mean, wouldn't it be weird if you're at a cocktail party and you're standing as part of the group, but you don't say anything ever, and you just look at people? Like, people start to wonder, like, who is this guy? Like, what's up with this person? It's kind of weird.
And then he just leaves.
And then
he comes back an hour later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super weird, right? Don't be that creepy person.
Yeah. But actually, Samantha Russell, I'm pretty sure you follow her.
Oh yeah, I know Sam.
Yep. So she did a post like last week or 2 weeks ago. I forgot what it was. And she said something around the lines of like, just being active on LinkedIn or whatever it is. And I brought up the analogy of, it's literally, because I have young kids, it's just to get on LinkedIn. It's like being the dad and you're going to your son's classmate's birthday, and basically you don't know anybody. Maybe it's like a new environment that you're in. It's not anybody specific that you relate to or anybody, but don't just sit there. You got to go interact. You got to network. And that's kind of what LinkedIn is. It's like you're all going to a party where it's like someone in your class, your son's class, that you're just in this social gathering. It's like, so who's going to be the one to actually interacts with who? And you might be left out, but don't just sit there. Like nothing happens if you just sit there. Yeah.
Beautiful analogy. It's spot on.
But as you would say, I digress. So no, I appreciate your time. The Couplr thing is so interesting to me. So how do people find out more about that? So obviously your website, or what's the process for that?
Yeah, obviously, connect and follow with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there, so you can don't spam DM me, but you can DM me and I will respond. Or Couplr.AI, so COUPLR.AI. You can learn a ton about what we're doing, how we're doing it, all that good stuff. We're very transparent, so good to check out there. And yeah, those are the two places I would send people.
Awesome. And as we're wrapping up, anything that we missed, or any final words, thoughts?
Well, I think this has just been a great conversation. If people are interested on the dad stuff, definitely check out rebeldads.com. REBL, it's Responsible Entrepreneur Balanced Leader. That's what that stands for, in case you're curious.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of fintech advisors in that community, just because that's folks that Adam and I know. But some pretty cool things we're doing there. So if you might be good for your mastermind folks, or, like, yes, we all want to work on our business, but it's good to work on yourself too. Back to your point earlier, Jeremy, like, we are an individual and we got to take care of ourselves first. And this book might, or community might be helpful in that respect as well.
Good stuff. I am definitely going to look more into this. Appreciate your time, Derek. Thank you for not just your time, but also wisdom. I'm pretty excited to see this thing continue to grow for you guys. So also thank you to the listener for tuning in to this week's episode of the Advisor Mentorship Podcast. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite listening device and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Jeremy Hauser AMP. And as you share this episode with a friend or a colleague, remember, in a world full of betas, be an alpha.